I'm Devon. I'm 28, female. And God, do I wish I had a stereotypical cheating story or something else, because I'm almost embarrassed to tell you all my story. I met Maverick, 32, male, back in high school, but we didn't really hang out much because we were in different years, obviously. He was that cool senior who was always surrounded by friends, and I was just a young, quiet freshman trying to navigate my way through the chaos of puberty and stuff. Fast forward a few years and life has taken us on different paths. At 24, I was still trying to figure out what to do with my life when an unexpected opportunity brought us back together. Maverick and I started hanging out again, and it felt like rekindling an old friendship. We got to know each other better, shared stories about our lives, and had some memorable moments together. Well, one thing led to another, and we started dating. Things were perfect, and I knew Mav was fixing up to propose to me. But then, one evening, I found out that I was late. I took a pregnancy test, and sure enough, I was pregnant. I was excited about the news and thrilled at the thought of sharing this incredible journey with Maverick. We had spent so much time getting reacquainted, and I felt a deep connection between us. I really thought everything would be perfect and that we'd be a happy family. I loved Maverick a lot, and I couldn't wait to share the news of my pregnancy with him, believing it would bring us even closer. But when I mustered the courage to tell Maverick, everything changed. His reaction was unlike anything I had expected. He didn't react with joy or excitement, but instead, he looked like he had just discovered that someone had pissed in his cereal, and then he got up and left the room without saying a word. He looked utterly upset, and I couldn't fathom why. It was embarrassing because I had set up a hidden camera to capture the moment, just like those cute videos on TikTok. I had expected him to be thrilled, not to react with anger and frustration like it was such an inconvenience for him. I tried to call and text him that night, but there was no response. I couldn't sleep, worrying about what had gone wrong and whether he was going to leave me. The very next day, I heard a loud, angry knocking at my door. I opened it, and there stood Maverick, looking even more furious than the night before. I was utterly confused and anxious about what had caused this dramatic change in him. Before I could even say hello, he started yelling at me. "Devon, you can't be serious. How could you let this happen? Are you kidding me?" "What the hell is wrong with you, Mav?" "Funny. I came here to ask you the same question." "You're crazy, you know that. How could you leave me like that last night? Do you know how that made me feel?" "And what about my feelings, Devon?" "I don't even know what you're feeling, because you don't freaking talk to me. And I don't even know why you're acting like this. We discussed having kids before. You said you wanted to be a father. Well, that's what I'm making you, and you're here treating me like crap. I don't get it. Please, explain it to me." "Yeah, I said I wanted kids, but I didn't mean right now. It's too early for this. I'm not ready for kids. I wanted us to be married first." "Well, we can get married if that's what you're worried about. We can definitely do that. But Maverick, I want to keep this baby. I don't appreciate you treating me this way. I thought you'd be happy about it." "Happy? This is all your fault. You're pressuring me into this. And I can't believe you're not considering how I feel." "I'm not pressuring you into anything, Maverick. I just thought we were on the same page about starting a family." "Well, we're not. I won't be ready for this baby for a long time. I want you to get rid of it." "Maverick, I want this child. I won't have an abortion just because you're not ready. We need to figure this out together." "Figure it out? How can we figure this out when you're not even giving me a say in this decision?" As the days turned into months, Maverick and I managed to navigate our differences and decided to get married before the baby's arrival. I was relieved, thinking that my husband had come to understand that having a child was a blessing, not a burden. We had a relatively smooth period in our relationship, with Maverick appearing to be supportive. However, things took a turn for the worse after I gave birth. It became evident that Maverick's initial willingness to marry and become a father had been short-lived. While I assumed it was the stress of becoming a new parent, the issue went way beyond that. As our baby, Mav Jr., reached 4 months, Maverick's disinterest in fatherhood was undeniable. He barely acknowledged the child, and his presence in the family was kind of rare. I was extremely frustrated with Maverick's behavior, and I couldn't help but express my anger. I would often find myself complaining and yelling about how I felt like I was raising our child all on my own. Maverick would respond by denying my accusations, insisting that he was an involved father. There were times when he would set up for a month or two, but then he would slip back into his old patterns of being an absent father. It was a constant cycle. He'd make promises and assurances, but soon after, he would find excuses to slip away and avoid his responsibilities, leaving me to shoulder the bulk of the parenting duties. This back and forth dynamic left me feeling incredibly frustrated and overwhelmed. Maverick, it's been months and you're barely here for our child. What's going on? I thought we were in this together. I don't know what you're talking about. Mav, I don't have time to fight with you, okay? Junior's been colicky and I'm exhausted. I need you to step up. I am stepping up. Okay, please tell me 5 things you've done for Mav in the past month, other than making money you need to buy all his baby crap? You see, this is the crap I'm talking about. It's like you're not even interested. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm interested. Then why don't you act like it? I'm so exhausted. I've been dealing with some stuff, that's all. Dealing with what? We need you here, Maverick. Our child needs you. I need you. Talk to me. It's just work has been really demanding. I know that's BS, Mav. Come on, come clean. What's been going on? You know I'm here for you. I love you and I want to help you. Please let me help you. Forget it. I'll go get some Pampers or something. Maverick was on thin ice, and to be honest, I was growing resentful. 3 years had passed, making our son, Mav Jr., 3 years old. I stopped complaining because I had practically raised our son on my own, with financial support and the occasional daycare pickup from Maverick. I was thankful for the financial help, of course. There are many mothers out there who aren't as fortunate. They had to do it all by themselves, and I acknowledged that. But I couldn't help feeling resentful. One day, I decided to lay out some divorce papers in front of Maverick during breakfast. I just needed to put it all out there. I told him that I got the message loud and clear. I apologized for dragging him into this pregnancy and marriage, especially when he clearly didn't want it. It was a pivotal moment for us. For the first time in years, Maverick showed emotions beyond apathy and regret. He looked shocked, like he was about to lose everything he loved. He started crying, begging and pleading with me, asking me to stay, and promising that he would change. But I had heard it all before. Even if the tears were a nice touch, I told him I was done with this loveless marriage. Our son was now old enough to see that his father didn't love him, and I couldn't stand to raise him in that kind of environment. I wanted what was best for my kid, even if it meant leaving the love of my life. I had plans to move back with my mom until I could get back on my feet. Maverick kept on begging and pleading, saying he was sorry and would change. I said the only way I'd stay was if there were serious rules about his behavior, and any slip-up, no matter how small, would lead to an immediate divorce. Maverick agreed to the new terms of our marriage and family. It was the first time he acted like an actual husband and father. For a while, Maverick was sticking to his word, acting like a good father and husband, and I was falling in love with him all over again. He was doing everything right, and I couldn't help but shower him with compliments, telling him that he was the best dad and husband ever. Things were going great for a couple of months, but slowly and surely Maverick started slipping back into his old ways. Even though I had told him that I'd leave the moment he did that, I didn't. I guess I still believe that Maverick was capable of being a good father and husband, so I wanted to give him another chance. Stupid, I know, but I had to at least try for our child. Our son, Junior, and I were getting used to eating dinner alone by this point. Maverick would say he had to go out and tend to some work priorities late at night to prep for deliveries for the next morning. I knew he was lying because that didn't make sense to me, but I was too tired to fight with him anymore, and the resentment was starting to creep back. And you all, I didn't know what to do. One night, as Junior and I were about to head to bed, I realized I had forgotten his water bottle in the garage. When I went to retrieve it, I found Maverick hunched over the box, doing something I couldn't quite make out. I called out to him, asking what he was doing back so early from work, and he started yelling at me. "Devon, what the hell are you doing here?" "I'm in my home, Maverick. I can do whatever I want. Why the hell are you yelling?" "Ugh, whatever. Just go back to bed." "Tell me what's going on." "Nothing." "Of course it's not nothing, is it?" "Nothing is ever wrong." "Devon, just drop it." "Okay, I don't care anymore, Maverick. You're just a bank account to me. You've made it clear that you don't care about any of us, so I won't care about you." Later on, after our fight, Maverick came to our bedroom and woke me up. He said he was sorry for how he reacted and that he was just scared because I startled him. But I wasn't buying any of that crap. Nobody reacts that angrily when they get startled, especially if it's by a familiar face. He was definitely hiding something, but I didn't want to push it because I didn't want him to burrow in his little hole further, so I played along. I told him that everything was all right, forgave him, and even apologized for yelling back at him. He gave me a kiss, but all I was thinking about was what he was up to. It had something to do with that box I had never seen in the garage before. I decided to be patient and wait until the next morning to find out what was in that mysterious box. My curiosity was killing me, but I didn't want to confront Maverick about it. I was afraid he'd lie or get defensive, so I set an alarm for 5 a.m. and went to bed. When the next morning came around, I went to the garage as planned, and the box was gone. I'm guessing Maverick knew that I would go snooping around. This just made things worse because whatever was in that box must have been important. The following night, when Maverick prepared for his supposed early morning shift, I seized the opportunity to snoop around. When Maverick thought that everyone went to bed, I sneaked downstairs. I stood by the garage door, straining my ears to listen. To my astonishment, I heard what could only be described as children's music. It was something right out of Teletubbies or Cocomelon, the kind of tunes I never imagined Maverick would voluntarily listen to. I mean, he didn't have a fatherly bone in his body. Why the hell was he listening to that crap? I was sure as hell that Junior wasn't with him. I had just checked on him before heading down. It was puzzling, given his seemingly distant relationship with our son. But I tried to see it as a positive sign. Perhaps in his own isolated way, he was trying to connect with our child. Maybe he thought that he'd relate to Junior more if he knew his favorite songs from his favorite shows. It was the first hint of fatherly effort I'd seen from him, and it felt somewhat endearing, honestly. Weeks rolled by, and I couldn't resist eavesdropping on Maverick through the garage door. My curiosity had turned into a real worry. It had been a while since I discovered his late-night fascination, but he didn't seem to make any effort with our son. It was like he was enjoying those shows for himself, not for Junior. The whole situation was a bit weird, to be honest. I mean, it's one thing to watch children's programs. It's another to be this secretive about it. And Maverick? He was a grown man, the last person I'd expect to be hooked on kiddie content. But I guess everyone's got their quirks, and who am I to judge? Honestly, what bothered me was how it was affecting our family, and how he continued to be distant. He'd rather watch cartoons than spend time with his family. I had to figure this out and bring our family back together. My plan was to be understanding and open-minded. Someday I'd casually walk into the garage and let him know it's cool to enjoy whatever you like, even children's shows, without feeling embarrassed. But I had to be super careful with how I approached this so I didn't freak him out. We needed some healing, and I was ready to do whatever it took to fix things. I was still pretty nervous about confronting Maverick and his secret. I mean, he had a history of anger reactions, and I wasn't sure how he'd handle it. Just hearing what was going on wasn't cutting it anymore, so I decided it was time to see it with my own eyes. One day, when Maverick was at work, I sneaked the camera into the garage. I made sure it was hidden well because I really wanted to get to the bottom of what my husband was up to. I'd been dealing with his weird behavior for too long, and it was high time I figured out what was going on. To be honest, I still had a lot of resentment built up from how he had been acting and treating our family. I felt like I deserved to know what was happening in my own home. It was time to uncover the truth and get to the bottom of the mystery that had been messing with our family. So with the camera in place, I waited for Maverick to come back from work. I was determined to finally take control of the situation and figure out what was going on. Our family's future was on the line, and I couldn't let things continue like this. So the camera was all set up, and I was ready to finally get to the bottom of this bizarre mystery. But I couldn't wait any longer. My curiosity got the best of me. I just had to know what Maverick was doing in the middle of the night, watching children's shows. So I decided to surprise him that very night. It was late, and I knew Maverick was in the garage doing his thing and jamming to those kids' songs. I couldn't stand waiting any longer, so I made my way downstairs into the garage. I heard the music, took a deep breath, and then swung the door open. And then I saw him. My 6'5", heavily tattooed husband dressed in a diaper, with a bib and a pacifier on a ribbon around his neck. He was even wearing those little baby hats. I was absolutely stunned. I mean, how do you react to something like that? I was left speechless. Maverick noticed me standing there after a moment and seemed like he was stuck in a trance or something, dancing around and grinding the air. When he saw me, his face turned a bright shade of red. He was just as shocked as I was. He probably never expected me to walk in on him like this. But he had to know. He couldn't keep this a secret forever, right? Also, what the actual hell? Before I could say anything, he started yelling, trying to explain himself. He was frantically searching for the right words, but honestly, nothing he said at that moment would have made this situation any less bizarre. I mean, what on earth was happening here? My husband was a full-grown man, not a baby. The whole scene was beyond surreal, and I couldn't wrap my head around it. I just wanted answers, but I didn't know what to expect from Maverick. What could he possibly say to justify this peculiar behavior? It was a moment that would change our lives forever. Devon, wait, I can explain everything. It was a dare from some of my workmates. You know, the guys at the site. What the hell is going on, Maverick? Oh, just shut up, Devon. Jesus Christ. Maverick, I understand what you might be feeling now. You don't understand anything. You're just dumb. I'm going to choose to ignore that because I want to hear you out. We can have a conversation about this, but I'm not going to let you insult me. I haven't said anything to you. Just tell me what all this is, please. You're always acting like you're better than me, Devon. You think you're so perfect. You're just a dumbass. Just as dumb and stupid and ugly as you were in high school. Why did I even give you a chance? Maverick, stop projecting your insecurities onto me. We need to talk about this like adults. You're such a controlling, uptight bitch. You have some nerve talking to me that way, considering what, huh? Say it. Considering you're dressed as a freaking baby, Maverick. There it is. I knew you would judge me. I'm not judging you, but you gotta admit this is really odd, babe. Don't call me that. Why, does it turn you on or something? You're being so rude and evil right now. Oh, spare me, Mav. You've been treating us like crap for years now. Is this the reason why? Because you were ashamed of this side of you? Is this why you're not a present father? Is this why you resent Junior because you wish you were him? You don't know anything about me. Get the hell out. No, you've been shutting me out for years. I want us to talk about this. Talk to me, please. You don't know anything about me. Just shut the hell up and leave me alone. You need to remember your place. Mav, I've been patient with you, but my patience is wearing thin. I don't know what is going on with you. I want to love you and support you, but you're making it difficult. You're nothing but a stupid housewife. And you want me to listen to you? Get out of my face right now. I couldn't believe what had just happened. The words that came out of Maverick's mouth had cut through me like a knife. He had always been distant and secretive, but this was a whole new level of weirdness that I couldn't wrap my head around. I'd never seen him act like that, shouting insults and telling me to get out like that, like I was some kind of monster. The shock left me stunned, and I chose not to engage further. I turned and walked away back to our bedroom, leaving him there with his weird-ass fetish. I needed to clear my head and gather my thoughts. With the morning light came a wave of emotions that I hadn't been ready to confront the night before. I couldn't sleep, and all I could think about was what I had witnessed in the garage. I knew I had to retrieve the camera and see everything for myself. I placed it there to uncover Maverick's secret, but now that I had seen it for myself, I wasn't sure I was ready to face the truth in its gory glory. It felt like a nightmare, honestly. The morning seemed to drag on forever, but I finally mustered the courage to get the camera. I didn't know what to expect as I plugged it into my computer. My heart was pounding and my hands were trembling as I clicked play. And then there it was on the screen, a sight that I could never have imagined in my wildest dreams. It was Maverick, dressed in the same diaper with the binky. He was being weird, even saying stuff like goo goo, gaga. Now listen, y'all. When it comes to freaky stuff like this, I don't know if I can get past it. It's some scary stuff, and to be honest, I was very angry and bitter about how he had treated me. Not just the previous night, but all of these years. I was just angry, y'all. So you know what I did? I got the video and I posted it everywhere, exposing my husband for the sicko he was. I was angry. How dare he treat me like that and expect me to do nothing? How dare he leave me alone to raise a baby by myself and act like this? I was even worried about Junior's future because it was like a light form of child harassment to me. I just couldn't wrap my head around it. I'm the first person to understand people's weird interests, but this was too much. Well, as you might have suspected, the video went viral and Maverick wanted to murder me. But I didn't care. I was planning on following through with the divorce, which is what I should have done long ago, and I wished I had, because it means I would have lived the rest of my life not knowing crap like this exists.